Okay, this video is pages 153, 154, numbers 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19, 21. And this video will not provide answers to the questions, rather it will be hints. I'll read the directions with you, offer you hints, make sure you're on the right track, but you'll actually have to do the solving. So we're going to start on number 11 and 12. And the directions read, write 3 ratios equivalent to the ratio described in each situation. So for number 11, the ratio given to you is the ratio of cups of water to cups of milk in a recipe is 1 to 3. So if you wrote that as 1 to 3, we have to find 3 equivalent ratios. Now these are the ones that we could just take the original ratio 1 to 3 and just double each of those terms. And so you'd get 2 to 6. So that can be your first answer. And you have to come up with 2 more. So then I'd go back to 1 to 3 and I would triple it. I'd go back to 1 to 3 and I would quadruple it. So you can finish number 11. And then number 12, same idea. The ratio of boys to girls on the bus is 20 to 15. I kind of like the idea of writing these horizontally, so I'm going to rewrite it using a colon, 20 to 15. Now this one, since the numbers are already kind of large, I probably wouldn't double it and triple it and quadruple it. You could, but you could also simplify this one. Do you notice that 20 and 15 share a factor of 5? So the first equivalent ratio might be just to divide those by 5 and simplify that, and then you could go back and double and triple. Go ahead and try 11 and 12, and then hit pause, and when you're ready to resume, we'll check out number 13. Number 13. In each bouquet of flowers, there are 4 roses and 6 white carnations. Complete the table to find how many roses and carnations there are in 4 bouquets of flowers. So the first thing you need to notice is that this first set of numbers, 4 and 6, that's for 1 bouquet. So I'm going to put a 1 and a B for 1 bouquet. And notice we're going to make a table, and we're going to use that table to figure out how many roses and carnations are in 4 bouquets. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make my table. The next column I'm going to have be 2 bouquets. And then I'm going to get the answers to those simply by doubling. So if I doubled 4 and 6, I would get 8 and 12. And then I'm going to get 3 bouquets. And I'm going to go back and triple 4 and 6. And then I'm going to get 4 bouquets. And I want you to notice here that they gave you enough room to do a 5th bouquet, but we're not actually going to need that because we're trying to find the number of roses and carnations in 4 bouquets. So if you complete this table and then take the information from 4 bouquets, then you can write on your line that you will have blank roses and blank carnations. Go ahead and solve number 13. When you're done, I'll give you a hint on how to do number 14. Number 14 reads, Ed is using the recipe shown to make fruit salad. He wants to use 30 diced strawberries in his fruit salad. How many bananas, apples, and pears should Ed use in his fruit salad? So the first thing I'm going to do is go analyze the recipe. The recipe calls for, and I'm going to look ahead to the strawberries because it says in the directions that he wants to use 30 diced strawberries, but the recipe calls for 10 diced strawberries. How do I take 10 diced strawberries and turn it into 30? And I hope you know that we're going to triple the recipe, or at least triple the amount of strawberries. Well, if we're going to triple the strawberries, what do we need to do to the bananas, the apples, and the pears? Well, I hope it makes sense that you need to triple those as well. So go ahead and triple the amount of bananas, apples, and pears, and you will get the correct answer to number 14. Go ahead and solve that now. Then we will skip 15 and we will resume on number 16. All right, number 16. This one's a little bit tricky. I'm going to try to show you the easiest way to solve it. So the first thing you need to understand about number 16 is that Bob has some orange juice concentrate, or I'm sorry, he needs to mix some orange juice concentrate with some water, and that's what makes orange juice. So I'm going to go ahead and talk you through the directions here and then give you a little hint. It says Bob needs to mix 2 cups of orange juice concentrate with 3.5 cups of water to make orange juice. So maybe one of the first things you need to understand is in order to make juice, you would mix the concentrate with the water. And when you mix the concentrate and the water, you end up with the juice. So what I'm going to use these words, concentrate, water, and juice, as my columns. I'm going to read the directions. It says Bob needs to mix 2 cups of orange juice concentrate. So how much concentrate does he need? He needs 2 cups of orange juice concentrate with 3.5 cups of water. Well, if he mixes 2 cups of concentrate with 3.5 cups of water, how much juice will he have? I hope you recognize that he'll end up with 5.5 cups of juice. Now continue reading. It says Bob has 6 cups of concentrate. So this first line right here, it said Bob needs, and the second line it says Bob has. So Bob needs 2 cups of concentrate, but he has 6 cups of concentrate. And just like with all the rest of these ratio problems, at this point I think you should be able to notice that to get from 2 cups of concentrate to 6 cups of concentrate, I would triple. Well, if you triple the amount of concentrate, you would then need to triple the amount of water. And I hope it then also makes sense that you would then have triple the amount of juice. So I gave you lots of hints there. If you do a computation here, if you triple the amount of water, you should be able to triple the amount of juice. You should be able to find how much, because that's what the question asks us, is how much juice will he make? We don't so much need to know how much water he has. We need to know how much juice he's going to make. And we've given you a pretty clear clue on how to do that. Go ahead and try 16 to the best of your ability. After you've solved that, we'll try 17 together. Okay, number 17. Now 17 looks a little bit tricky until you kind of make a little table. So I'm going to show you how to take ratios, put them into a table, and then I think you'll see the operation here. So it's multi-step. The first sentence says the ratio of North American butterflies to South American butterflies at a butterfly park is 5:3. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a table here where the first thing I'm going to list is the North American butterflies. And if you read that carefully, notice that the word North American comes first, and then the number that comes first is 5. So the North American butterflies would be 5. And then the second term was South American butterflies. And if you go back to that ratio, it says 5:3. So North American to South American is 5:3. So I'm going to set up my table as North American is 5, South American is 3. Now there's another sentence that says the ratio of South American butterflies to European butterflies is 3:2. So I'm going to go ahead and put the word Euro here for European butterflies. And I'm going to notice that that ratio is 3:2. Well, the 3 goes with South American butterflies, and the 2 goes with the European butterflies. So really, I can just add a 2 to my table here. And now I've got kind of a 3-part ratio where it's North American butterflies 5, South American butterflies 3, European butterflies 2. Now that's the information I have. There's one more sentence here that we need to read carefully because it's going to tell us what to do. It says there are 30 North American butterflies at the butterfly park. So the ratio is 5:3:2, but there are actually 30 North American butterflies. Well, if you put 30 on the line that corresponds with the North American butterflies, you now should notice that if you did something to the 5, you would get 30. Well, if you multiply one part of a ratio by a certain number, you would then need to multiply the other parts of the ratio by that same number. It's the same as the tables we've been completing on the Moby questions. So there should be a fairly visible and obvious hint on what to do to figure out the number of South American butterflies. That's question A. And the number of European butterflies. That's question B. There's your hint on number 17. Go ahead and try that. After you've solved number 17, you may resume the video and we will check out number 19. So we're on number 19, and 19 is a diagram. It says the diagram compares the ratio of girls in the chorus to boys in the chorus. What is the ratio of girls to boys? Notice they put the word girls first and the word boys second. And if there are 50 students in the chorus, how many are girls and how many are boys? And I think that this diagram is really pretty helpful. Notice that there are 50 students. There's a 50 here, and it kind of makes sense that the diagram represents 50 students because the directions said that there are 50 says if there are 50 students in the chorus, how many are boys and how many are girls? Well, the first step is to go ahead and figure out what numbers could go in these unknown boxes right here. And I'm going to do it wrong at first, but I think that you'll catch my mistake here pretty quick. Let's pretend I guessed that each of these represented 5. And so I said 5 in each box would be 5, 10, 15 girls, and 5 in each box would be 5, 10 boys. So that would be 15 girls and 10 boys. Well, that actually doesn't make sense, because that would show that there are 25 students in the chorus when there's actually 50 students in the chorus. So one way to figure out these missing numbers there is to do a little guessing and checking. Another way would be to say, well, there are 5 sections here and there are 50 students. So if you just divided, you could figure out what number would go in each of these boxes. Well, then you can just use a little bit of common sense to figure out how many total boys there are and how many total girls there are. And that's actually the second question. The first question is, what is the ratio of girls to boys? Well, you can actually just use the image. The image kind of shows you a very simple ratio. It's in simplest form. So the first thing you're going to do is write blank to blank in simplest form as a ratio. And the second thing you're going to do is say how many girls there are and how many boys there are. So there's a nice hint on number 19. Go ahead and solve that. Hit pause on the video, solve that, and then we'll skip ahead to number 21. Number 21, explain the error. I want you to notice that the clue says explain the error. We know there's going to be an error here, so let's use our common sense to try and figure out what that error is. Tina says that that 6 to 8 is equivalent to 36 to 64. What did Tina do wrong? I want to show you that if you rewrite this as a fraction, it might be easier to notice. So 6 to 8 could be written like this, 6 over 8. And I'm going to put equal sign, because that's what equivalent means, is equal to. And then I'm going to write 36 to 64. And you're welcome to go ahead and cross this equal sign out, because we know it's not equivalent. Tina says it's equivalent, but we know it's not because the question says explain the error. So we know there's an error. So really what I want you to look at is look at your top terms, 6 and 36. How would you get from 6 to 36? And then look at your second terms, 8 and 64. How would you get from 8 to 64? And basically what you're looking for is if you're not using the same factor to multiply the first term and the second term on the left to get the first term and the second term on the right, then that's actually your mistake. So go ahead and explain what she did and maybe even what she should have done.